Previously on Big Brother. Second eviction of the season, y'all. My parlay was almost correct. I'm not gonna lie. We was halfway there. My boy Adrian came out on top in the BB Blockbuster competition like I predicted. And I'm glad Will stayed in the house. Thank God. But last night, I gotta stand true to my prediction. I did expect Amy to stay in the house. I wanted Will to stay, but I thought brother was going home. But thankfully, he stayed, though. As happy as I am that Amy's out of the house and Rachel's plans are now foiled, because she was talking a lot of cash shit in this episode. It makes me even more frustrated that Jimmy did not just put Rachel on the block. I just feel like you had a very motivated Adrian who was going to do whatever it took to win that BB Blockbuster competition. He almost won the veto competition. So the chances that Rachel would have won that BB Blockbuster competition, while she still could have won, were pretty low in my opinion. This was the best time to put her up on the block as a replacement nominee. Like if Rachel went home, who's your top ops? Ashley and Amy? Yes, Ashley won a veto last week. Congratulations to her. But if I'm Jimmy, I'm not worried about Ashley like that. She got numbers, I guess, in the girls in the house. But look at all the girls who voted to get Amy up out of here this week. Like I said in last night's episode recap, I understand Jimmy felt like he was in a conflicting circumstance. He ended out the first week pretty rash, so I understand him not wanting to get no blood on his hands with the replacement nominees for this one. But to me personally, there's no advantage in keeping Rachel in the game anymore. I know we're only in week 2, but again, I keep having to remind everybody, she's already won her own money in this game before. On top of that, with every episode that passes, Rachel is getting harder and harder to live with. She beefing with Keanu in the last episode, and now in this episode, she's talking about, what do y'all rookies think? If I want somebody to stay in the game, they're gonna stay in the game. Hey, y'all better do it, otherwise y'all gonna have hell to pay. Like, who is she talking to? Who in production is she looking at and talking to saying this? I'm so glad things did not go her way this week, but I would have been even more happy if Jimmy just stood on his guns and decided, I'm gonna get Rachel about the house no matter what. That would have been such a big power move. You could have bragged about that shit all the way to the final 2. And America would have voted for you because you did what? Stood on business. Now America looking at you like the clown you are. But yeah, man, shout out Adrian for winning that Blockbuster competition. Shout out Will for living to see another day in the Big Brother house. And unfortunately for Amy, sayonara. Before we move on from Amy though, I did want to comment on something she said earlier on in the episode. She somehow attested her bad luck of being put on the block 2 weeks back to back to her being aligned with Rachel. And I felt like that was just such a weird thing to say. If I'm not mistaken, you the one that wanted to align yourself with Rachel. You the one that came up with the mama line. So now that you align with Rachel, it's a problem for your game. Mind you, Rachel was the one who gathered up all the votes last week to keep you in the game. You're ungrateful ass. God don't like ugly. That's why your ass is outside the house right now watching from home just like me. The vote was insane too, 13-0. My boy Will was able to stay in the house off a sweep. That's crazy word. I knew the second Rachel voted for Amy that Amy wasn't coming back in the house, but 13-0? Even her allies didn't give her sympathy votes. Nigga, we knew y'all were aligned. You're not fooling anybody keeping Will in the house. We know who you really wanted to stay. Also, all the house guests were bad emotional before and after they made this vote tonight. Like, please relax. Y'all are going to see everybody when you leave the house if you want to. Nobody died. Everybody is okay. Amy calling Jimmy out right before she left the house though was peak. He deserved that slight because realistically, Amy shouldn't have even gone on the block again. Not saying it even had to be Rachel, but the fact that Amy had to sit on the block back-to-back weeks, that shit is all the way uncalled for. You had other people you could have put up on that block. You put that girl up again. Her going home is on your hands. I'm glad she gave you that straight before she left. Now, I love in this episode that Morgan and Mickey started making their own moves away from Jimmy. That triple threat alliance shit is dead. They're looking out for their own games, going around the house, trying to see how they can get Will to stay up in here. And they were successful in doing so. So I'm looking forward to seeing more moves they make throughout the season because so far they're working pretty well in the team. It was getting a little sweaty with Rachel exacting her power in that one meeting they had earlier on in the episode. Morgan was trying to convince Zach that Will needed to stay, but Zach wanted Adrian to stay, obviously. Then Jimmy and Rachel got involved, and they're trying to keep Amy in the house. And you already know when Rachel gets to talking, all the house guests just stop and stare. They so fearful of whatever come out of this 40-year-old lady's mouth. Morgan talking about some, I don't want to piss off Rachel. I'm not gonna lie, it don't take much to piss off Rachel. If you watched her season, if you're on this season, you should already know it don't take much to piss off Rachel. Somebody said that the longer that Rachel stays in his house, the longer her power is going to start to spread throughout it. And I couldn't agree more. The power and fear that she's going to be able to instill in these house guests is going to be OD, outrageous even. Yeah, they need to get her up out of here ASAP. Hopefully next week somebody with some balls can put her up on the block. I'm hoping Keanu win the HOH because if he win the HOH, I got no doubt that Rachel's going up on that block. At least touching. Let her have to earn a veto and take herself off the block, bro. She's already run the bread. Like, literally, what are y'all keeping her here for? Answer that question, please. I feel like now that Amy's out the game, Rachel touching the block should be top priority. All she really has in the game is Ashley at this point. And if Ashley's smart, she's going to find some other alliances elsewhere. Because Rachel literally said in a confessional today that bringing Amy would be best for her game because she could beat out Amy in the end. She basically said anybody sitting next to Amy in the end, that's a layup for them to win the game. That's tough. So yeah, Ashley, if I were you, I would align with the house instead of going back to Rachel and talk about some, I don't think we got the votes to keep Amy. You need to do like Catherine and Lauren and start playing your own game. Speaking of Catherine and Lauren, they're not playing their own game. They're getting screen time now, finally. I can respect floaters, but I hate having house guests float through the game when I'm watching at the same time, if that makes sense. I want to see you making moves. I want to see what you're thinking about. I don't want you to just be a background character. So it's good to see at least what they're thinking, what they're trying to plot, how they want to move, etc. I look forward to seeing what else they get up to as the weeks progress in this house. Other than that though, man, it was a pretty calm episode. Looking forward to week 3 in the Big Brother house. We got the announcement that Taylor and Derrick will be doing a Big Brother Unlocked series starting tomorrow, so I might start reviewing that. Probably not this episode tomorrow though. I will be out of town, so it's going to be hard to react to that one, but I'll talk about it in the next Big Brother post that I put up for y'all. But basically it's going to be Taylor and Derrick breaking down the game so far, inviting super fans on to talk about the game, and having a BB fantasy draft as well, amongst other things. So looking forward to that. Let's see what they get into on that series. I want to see how they assess the game, if they thinking like me for real. Talk about if they thinking like me. They won the game. Like, bro, you're just behind the camera talking about this shit. You never been to the Big Brother house a day in your life. Anyway, though, solid week 2. Looking forward to week 3, like I said. Leave in the comments, what did you think about week 2? Who are you more excited to see leave the house first, Rachel or Jimmy?